How do you predict the success of the candidate that you are interviewing? How do you know that they are going to succeed in the job if you give them the job? Well, after hiring maybe 300 people across the course of my 17-year career as an HR generalist and business partner, I have found there are a few things that where I'm able to predict whether the person in front of me is going to be a good fit or not, and whether they're going to succeed in the job or not. I have 3 questions that I'm going to share with you in this video that I ask every candidate, no matter what job I am hiring for, no matter what industry it's for. And these 3 questions have been a very good predictor for me on whether the candidate will succeed in their job or not. If you are new here, please go ahead and subscribe. I talk all about building high-performing teams, managing your team, hiring good people, and all of that, elevating yourself as a leader. So I talk to leaders all the time, and the one thing that keeps coming up over and over and over again over the 17 years I have been doing this, leaders will tell me that they struggle with finding good talent. Now, part of that is, not attracting the right people and their strategies for that. And part of that is not being able to predict whether in the interview, how to find whether this person in front of them is going to be a success in the role or not. So in this video, I'm going to share what I think are those predictors are and where I have had good success. The first question that I want to share with you that I feel has a really good predictor of success is, tell me in your own words about your background, your experience, how and what has led you to this point in your career. Now, there's a couple of reasons why I ask them to tell me this in their own words. One of those reasons is I want to see how often they have job hop. So if they've been in a company for several years, that's a good thing. If they keep changing jobs every 1 year or every 2 years or 3 years is still okay, but if every single job is at the 3-year marker they're leaving, there's something that you need to probe a bit deeper on. And the reason for leaving those jobs is equally as important as why they left. Sometimes, and I can say this from my own experience, you outgrow the job. So typically speaking, a high performer early in their career will continue to job hop pretty often. What you need to see is, are they job hopping and is the trajectory of their career on sort of an upward path? If that is the case, then yes, that's fine. But if not, then that is something that you need to keep in mind and either probe a little bit further or, that there's a red flag. And there's a third reason I asked this question, and that is to see how concisely and how well they can articulate their 10, 15, 20-year career into a very short synopsis. And now there's a skill to this, because when people, and you can tell right away, you ask this question, so do me a favor, ask this question the next time you're hiring someone, and you'll see so many different variances of responses. And the reason is a lot of people think about their careers in different ways, but to be able to take what's in their resume and make it and condense it into a 3-minute monologue takes skill. And what they choose to highlight throughout their career is also something to keep an eye on and think about and observe and take notes on to see whether it makes sense or not. The second question I ask is, why did you choose to apply to this job at this company? Now, you may already be asking this type of question, but I'm going to tell you why I asked this question. Obviously, the first thing I'm looking for is whether they've researched the company or not. I cannot tell you how many times an employee a candidate will come to the interview and have not researched anything about the company. I've even had candidates ask me what job they applied to. They don't remember what job they applied to, and I get it. You're applying to, so many dozens of jobs every single day, but then have a system, and that just shows to their organization. This covers so many different aspects of a candidate's personality and the way they work. So whether they've researched the company or not is extremely important, because it shows their their care that they're giving to this process. It shows the respect that they're giving to you as an interviewer, and it shows the respect that they're giving to themselves, quite frankly. Because why would you come on a call without knowing what job you're applying for, or without knowing the details, or at least have gone to the person's website to see whether the job aligns or whether they know anything about the industry, and come prepared to ask questions. The other reason I asked them this question after the first one is because I want to see whether the reasons why they applied for my job are aligned with the reasons why they left previous jobs or why they joined other positions. You want to be able to see whether the reasons why they're joining you align with the reasons why they left. So if they left for, say, development opportunities, you have to make sure that the reasons that they're telling you they're applying to this job is in some way aligned with their development plan. I'll give you my example. I left Brookfield back in 2012, and at that time, Brookfield only had office properties. At least the division that I was working at only had office properties. When I ultimately left, or when I started interviewing in other places, the intention was to join a company where I could expand my knowledge in the business world. So when I got a call from Oxford, which is a competitor of Brookfield, I went on their website and I noticed that Oxford also has retail, they have hotels, they had industrial buildings. And so the property management, property ownership, property development portfolio was significantly larger than Brookfield's. And so when I went to the interview and they said, "Why do you want this job?" I gave them the background. Say, I had no idea what property management or real estate development was when I joined Brookfield, and now I see that, and I quite enjoy it. And now I see that at Oxford you have all these different sectors that you develop and manage. And that was an appropriate response, because it showed the interviewer that I cared about where I was going, and because I had left past opportunities because I wanted development. The third question that I ask every single candidate is, what questions do you have for me? And now, I know that a lot of you probably ask this question at the end of interviews. However, I ask them this question, and the answer that people give me is it has a strong predictor of whether they will succeed in the job. When they do say that they have a question, observe what types of questions they are asking. Are they asking about specifics of the job, about metrics, about KPIs, about the clients, about the type of work, about what a day in the life looks like? Are they asking specific questions about the role? Are they asking questions about the company and culture? Are they asking questions about benefits, salary? Are they asking questions about work arrangements? The type of questions that people ask will give you huge insight into what is important to them. And then what you have to ask yourself is what's important to them aligned with what's important to you in bringing this person on and the employees that are in your company. So, for example, if they ask you right off the bat, well, I wanted to know what the salary expectations are. Well, of course, you know then that their motivation is money, and that's fine. We work for money, but that's their key motivator behind wanting to join another company. They're leaving a job because they are underpaid. Fine, so now you know this. I always find that when I ask this question, the people that respond with questions about the job or questions about the specifics of what a day in the life looks like of an employee in the company are most likely to succeed and become and be high performers in the organization. I think I can understand the psychology of why that happens, because when a person's first question is about the job, it means that they care deeply about the type of work that they do. And people who care deeply about the type of work that they do are highly motivated, in my experience, are highly motivated people. Now, if they say they have no questions, of course, that in and of itself is a red flag, I would say. You do need to think about the other questions that you ask to figure out whether they're the right fit or not, because sometimes people have no questions because you've already answered all the questions in your description of the job. But more often than not, if they don't have a question to ask you, it's either because they haven't researched the company, or because they lack creativity, or because they can't think on their feet, or because they're disinterested. You figure out whether any of these things would be someone that you would want to bring on into the organization. So those are the 3 questions that I ask every single candidate. As I said, over 17 years, I have refined and figured out what responses to these questions make a good employee, and so I continue to use them. I'm sure you have some of your favorite questions that you ask candidates as well. Put them down in the comments below so we can all learn from each other. But I also ask don't just put the question, but also put, what do you hope the candidate is going to respond when you ask that question? And do you ask that question universally? I'm really, really curious to hear, because I'm always looking to refine my own recruitment process. And since hiring top talent is, one of the hardest things, of course, let's just all learn from each other. Now, I promised you a 4th secret thing that I observe in candidates, and when I observe this particular behavior, I know that they're likely going to be a success as an employee, and that is enthusiasm. Now, enthusiasm can't be measured on a scale. Sometimes an introverted person is more quiet, more subdued, and an outgoing person is laughing and is jolly and jovial and is bantering with you. Both of those people can still be enthusiastic in different ways. When I say enthusiasm, it means the things like asking questions. It means engaging in what you're telling them. It means providing, telling you stories about their past career and their past experience, and just coming to the table with a positive attitude. Somebody who has a positive attitude is more likely to accept feedback and be on a path of continuous learning. Now, that's not always the case. That's why I left it to the end, because it's not like a hard and fast rule. A big thing that I have learned in recruiting over, my career is that I trust my intuition. And so put all of those things together, the tangible, the intangible, and what does your gut tell you? What are you feeling inside when you are sitting in front of this candidate, whether that's virtual or in person? And I will tell you, there have been times where I have gone against what my gut is telling me, and I have recommended the person and we've hired them, and they have turned out to be the wrong person. The advice I will give you as I close out this video is always trust your intuition when you're recruiting. And because the data will tell you all the things it'll tell you, but you cannot take the human element out of this process. Now, I know recruitment can take up a lot of time. I have prepared what I call my 15-minute phone interview guide. It is the easiest way to weed out candidates when you get a lot of candidates for one role, and you can grab the guide below this video. Alternatively, if you have questions about how to refine your recruitment process, or if you want help on actually hiring people, you can contact me. The contact link is below, and I'd be more than happy to help you anytime. That's it for this week, my friends. I want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving if you're in Canada, if you're watching this video when it comes out. Otherwise, I will see you next time. Take care.